Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to round 5 of the ESR Blancpain GT Challenge with 2016, of course. I am your host, Cole McCray. Today we are joined, as always, by the lovely Justin Swan.
Hello.
And this is our mid-season mini enduro that replicates the IGT International GT Challenge series. Today we are at Spa-Francorchamps, or maybe today I should say Spa-Francorchamps, because it is a wet one. At least it has been for qualifying so far, and it will make it definitely exciting. So why don't we roll right into it today?
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty intense. Right now, the weather forecast looks like the rain is holding steady, but from the time qualifying ends to the time the race kicks off, we're looking at about an hour. So we'll have to see what happens as far as a break in the storm goes. Hopefully, the weather starts to clear up in the next hour. I doubt that it's gonna stay this wet all the way through, but stranger things have happened. Hopefully, it doesn't get any wetter.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now we have 28 drivers. Are you in this one? Yes, you are. Okay, so 28 drivers. Right now it is wet, very, very wet, although it's somewhat warm. We can see a forecast right now of just basically rain, although, as you told me earlier, we will be jumping forward an hour as we go into the race to kind of emulate the real-life time gaps. So there's a good possibility that there's a possibility that it'll change, I should say, but it's not a good one. Because practice and then quality has been pretty wet, so there's a good chance it'll stay that way. It'll definitely make stuff interesting, especially with the famous Eau Rouge, which we have a great view of right here from the broadcast tower. And why don't we take a quick peek at what's going on for qualifying? We have Brandon Baker with a surprise pull so far. Not to say that it'll maintain that, but you know, it could happen. Doing very well with against Albert Ahona in second, Matt Higgs in third, and Andrew Burke in fourth, with Sean Kinney pulling up fifth so far. David Nelson just now sliding up into sixth. As I said, we got 2.5 minutes left in qualifying, so there's still plenty of time for stuff to change. I mean, especially with this weather, you never know when someone's going to pull out an astonishing fast lap. We're looking at 230s, low to mid 230s, so obviously not as fast as on a dry surface. But they're not super slow. I expected it to be a little bit slower than that, actually.
No, I mean, you can get some good times here. You can tell who practiced the wet and who didn't. Baker in particular seems to have really given it a lot of go, and you can see some of these drivers, they understand what a wet line is here on ACC. It's a little different than what a wet line is in the real world. Real world wet lines, you're looking to avoid the oily parts of the track. In AC, it's more so about finding the part of the track that is most worn in, the driest portion of the track, and then avoiding puddles as well as avoiding curbs. A little while ago, we saw Butler getting quite discombobulated going over some of the curbs, and you really can't do that. They are absolute no-go zones. They are spike strips.
Yeah, absolutely, and Spa has particularly brutal curbs sometimes even without the rain. So, you know, that can just add another extra wrench in there. A couple of notes before I forget: we have a couple more contenders. Marco Bessi, who we saw a little while back, has entered with Rinaldi Racing. So that's a Pro-Am team. Adam Brosh is joined with Boutzen Guineans, so joining the BMWs and Rex. We were looking at Yadong Tershin, who is a solo entrant, a name we haven't seen before in ESR yet. And then Josh Horowitz, who is also a solo entrant. We just saw, I believe that was a Lamborghini. I think that might have been, no, that wasn't Tershin. I don't know who that was.
Josh Horowitz is in the green Black Falcon Mercedes. So that's if you're trying to figure out what he was in there.
No, there was a car that went off. It was a Lamborghini. It might have been David Nelson, actually, now I think about it. But not particularly important. This isn't the race yet. And as we mentioned before, there is just so much water on the track right now. You can see pretty substantial puddles. I have no doubt that the drivers are going to be on rain tires for this race. And as you can see in the forecast, it just changed so that is that less rain?
That
Yes, it
is
is.
less rain. It's
so less
lightning.
rain.
we're gonna see a break in the storm sometime in the next 30 minutes. So let's see if this break in the storm actually does something for these drivers and helps them out a little bit. Maybe they end up taking the track and it's light rain, the track dries out a little bit. We'll have to see. So some drivers haven't managed to set a lap. Castano Muniz, Gianluca De Luca, Mr. Spencer, who is a new entry, and Horowitz has also not. Butler had some trouble. So they are going to go ahead and tick over to the race session. I'm going to let you go ahead and do what you do. I'm going to pop back in on the Steward channel for just a moment to give them a few words of advice before we go green. And I will be back with you in about 2 minutes here for the start.
Absolutely, sounds like a plan. Enjoy. So, lots of note, we were missing a couple other drivers from the roster. Max Simmons, or I shouldn't say we're missing them, but they have not yet qualified. So Max Simmons among them, Javier Castaño Munoz, he noted, Justin noted earlier. James Butler did not qualify, which is interesting, especially in that Bentley. That could be a particularly interesting choice. He might have a hard time fighting through. The Bentley will be pretty good on this track, I imagine, especially in this current configuration. But there's nothing really that can be done. Is he on a flying lap? I think he is. So there's a possibility this could be. No, he stopped. So that will be a devastating hit to at least the qualifying for James Butler. Meanwhile, we have a track preview we're going to go over just so we can get a look at what makes Spa-Francorchamps. That is recorded by our lovely Matt Higgs, third place qualifier currently, and let's see what he has to say.
Starting the lap at Spa. One of the gears out, should be reaching the top of 4th by the time you get to the braking zone, about the 120 meter. Very sharp turn. Use as much of the inside curve and straighten it out. Use all the curve you can. Now you're going to run down to Eau Rouge. Use all the track. Cut the inside curb. Yeah, should be cut that in that there. Right, now you should be reaching the top of 6th. Not top 6th, about halfway up to 6th gear. Depending on when you shift up. You start braking just for the curbing. Cut as much of the inside curb as possible. Straight line this. Get on the inside curb. Coast through Lake Home. Malmedy now into Lucelle. That was weird. Alright. Keep that first gear, cut that corner. Stay onto the inside. Sometimes I shift, sometimes I lift. Use all the curb you can, curve here as much speed as possible. Now it's Pouon. Down to 4th. Get it on the gas. Can't really get on the gas too early because the Audi likes to understeer your own power through that corner specifically. Alright, now it's time for Leifang. Alright, much the inside curb, wait, and turn in later. Right, now it's time for campus. Brake just for the curbing. You have to brake more than you're thinking you need to for this corner. It's weird. Turn in later than you think you need to. You can take that pretty much fly out most cars. First Develop, now it's Courbe Paul Frere. The ramp to Blanchiment should be fly out all the way until the bus stop chicane here. Use all the track on the right hand side. Alright, Drake brake just after the line there for the bus stop chicane. Alright, and that's a lap of Spa.
Excellent job, Matt Higgs. Excellent job. Did not cut that any closer than I think we could have because we're just going green flag right now as we speak. Going. John Archie leading the pack as Andrew Burke is in tow along with Matt Higgs and Albert Arjona. That system switched over faster than I was expecting, gotta admit, but we got it done. And Eau Rouge is not taking any casualties yet. Just kidding. Ayrton Tobin getting really slidey in the background. He doesn't cause too much chaos. Slows the pack down a little bit, but not super devastating. That was kind of a weird place to go off in the Kemmel Straight.
looks like he got hooked on someone's nose. He didn't anticipate the Porsche hips. I think he came across someone's bow, maybe. We'll have to take a look in the replay.
Yeah, but it's definitely possible.
So he's got it righted. Now, the only good thing, he's got some damage.
Matt
the
Higgs
only good
making a
thing
move on
is-
Andrew Burke into I believe that's what's the name of that turn? I forget. Bouin, that's it. That's what you were saying, Justin?
The only good thing is that with how wet it is right now, that aero damage isn't going to affect him at all. As long as his car is steering straight, he'll be doing fine.
Absolutely, absolutely. And looking on the map here, there's not a lot of I don't see any accidents, so to speak. I mean, obviously that's not necessarily going to continue out throughout the race, but it's looking pretty clean so far. So, a brief round of applause to our drivers. Looks like Andrew Burke got his position back from Matt Higgs. But Brandon Baker, Higgs' teammate, is right on his tail. Oh, just kidding. Matt Higgs actually ended up getting by. I was looking at something completely different. My bad. I
Well, right.
never claimed to be smart.
Well, right now the front pack is Archie is just walking away, and the pack of Higgs, Burke, Baker, and Butler. Butler, a surprising driver here right now. He's really taken to the wet.
Yeah. Well, it's Archie is, I think in a couple races in the past he's done pretty well in the wet too. And I mean, in any case, being up on the pole, it makes it really easy to drive away at the start. But especially in cases like this where it's really uneasy, these fights can really have an effect on the speed of the cars, or the drivers, I should say, when they're battling. So I'm not entirely surprised, but he's not pulling away as much as I think. Even no, well, no, that looks pretty devastating. It says 1.6 seconds, but it looks more like 3.
Yeah. Looking through our field now, whoa, Tobin with a very late move to the inside of Lasource. Manages to keep it off of the drivers. We've got a 2-wide situation. Oh, they think better of it. Of the Josh Horvitz, and I believe that's either Biglino or Bessie. It's one of the Rinaldi racing cars as they go up Eau Rouge for the second time this race.
Looks like Young Tershin got a little bit squirrely as well, but able to hold him off. Not entirely sure who that is. That might be. No, that doesn't look like Jones. I'm not sure it's a Lamborghini. It might be Spencer even. Right in front of him. Oh no, that's Tommaso Bellino. Okay, that's a Ferrari. Okay, I didn't catch that. The green Ferrari right in front of the green Lamborghini is wreaking havoc with my pattern recognition.
Well, let's talk about some of the big winners on lap 1 since we're starting to get a little bit of a break here. All the cars are kind of filing into order so that they're able to make it through. Just going off of what I see, Max Simmons is up into 18th position, and he's got a pretty steady trail of cars behind him. But at the same time, this car is known for the Rex is known for being particularly bad at this track, and if he's able to squeeze out a 15th here and do what he can in the wet and just drive his way through it, I think we're going to see a very pleased Boots and Guinion racing out of him.
Well, we got some cars going side by side. That looks like Castagna Muniz on Adam Brosh. Oh, he backs out of the pass attempt. Although Ayrton Tubbs getting a move made on him by a Ferrari. That might be Jones. Not entirely sure. Gets a little bit sideways, and it forces the BMW of Brosh off. No, it's Bellino, not Jones.
Yeah,
okay, so Tobin was making the move on Bellino.
Jones is behind Castano. He's the one with the white roof.
Ah, yes. And we got just an absolute cluster going on with Durazio, Simmons, Horvitz, and Tershin. We get up on that.
Whoa, Simmons is getting freight trained here in the wet. That Rex is bad here in the dry.
Yeah, this has to be hurting him. Durazio with a bold dive on the outside.
Into the bus stop.
And the slowing caused by the Rex not being good under braking, but then no, Durazio spins and so does Tobin. They collect. Not too much damage, and Durazio backs up into Brosh. And following him, I believe that is Spencer who taps him. Brosh still sitting at the exit of the bus stop. Not sure what that move on Durazio's part was. He was more or less off the racing line. Not entirely sure why he decided to back up there, but
The good news is it's very relative low speed there, so any contact there is a minimum as far as damage
yeah.
goes, but it's not a fun corner to spin at.
Didn't cause any damage. The 404 of Adam David Brosh is still stuck at the exit of the bus stop. He's struggling to get traction.
He's getting it rolling now, but it's okay. It's all right. I think now that he's got it moving, he should be in good shape. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise. He can get out there and run some laps by himself and get the car up underneath him. He is new to the series.
Yep. There's not very many stakes for him, and he's proven to be a competent driver in other series. But what a trial by fire, I must say. That is a quite a set of circumstances he's found himself in. Meanwhile, battle for front. Looks like Archie's been reeled in by Higgs, and actually the rest of the little group of their front. Andrew Burke is struggling to hold up. Brandon Baker actually goes wide into campus, and Baker almost made a move but didn't get it done.
Oh, that bobble, though, opens the door for Baker to try and stick his nose in on the outside. He thinks better of it. He's going to try and take a looping line to the inside now.
Oh,
Burke's up on that curbing. That is dangerous in the wet.
Yeah, that bobble out of Stavelo was really really concerning, and Baker's just sticking his nose all up in Burke's business. He's not able to get anything done though. I think the caution is helping it, but you can just see the space up front to Higgs is just, it's exponential at this point. They're going very wide into Blanchimont, breaking out for the bus stop.
And watching through the rest of our field, it looks like Barker had something happen to him as well, because he has just dropped like a stone down the 26th position. He was up near 10th, I believe. Ahead of him is Durazio and Tobin, and I think Durazio giving him the old flashers. He doesn't like whatever is happened to him in the bus stop. I'm not sure if that was directly related to Tobin or if Tobin checked up and spun because of what happened with Durazio. I'm not sure, but we'll have to see what happens here. I think Barker in that V12, though, that car is surprisingly good in the wet. It gets so much weight on those front wheels. It really does its job.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier in the wet, I believe it was it Zandvoort? No, Brandon Baker going around the inside of the Kemmel Straight. Now the Ferrari will probably have the braking advantage, and it looks like it, but being forced wide is not to Burke's favor, and he gets back to spot. But yeah, there was another track in which the Aston Martin V12s were actually doing very well, and I can't recall. If I look at the schedule, that might jog my memory here. It was Imola. I believe it was Imola. Wait, maybe Monza. Actually, never mind. I don't know. But there was one race in particular we were talking about the Aston Martins in the rain and how it actually helped the cars wake up because they are very pushy in the front end normally. Oh no, we have an accident through Eau Rouge, the 495 and the 51. David Jones and
Spencer.
And P. Spencer.
So like David Jones ended up returning to pits. He not sure what kind of damage that car incurred. Yeah, it's unfortunate up Eau Rouge. I mean, it's gonna happen. It's not a fun corner.
Well, especially in the wet. That's just a recipe for disaster. An update on our forecast: we got 5 and 15. I thought we got 10 and 30 minute.
I don't know why. It's working in the practice session. It's working everywhere, but in the race session, it's 5 and 15. I don't know if it was a stealth update or what.
It might have been. Okay. Well, I specifically remember the last rainy one that it was
10 and 30. I know. Yeah, it was like that in the practice and even in the qualifying session.
Bizarre. Well, in any case, we still got rain, but
Burke is going wide here out of Blanchimont. Sorry to interrupt you.
No. That's
the
more
door
important.
For Baker. They're going side by side into the bus stop. Burke holds the inside, cuts down, and he's able to not only take the position but get another little bit of a gap because Baker gave him so much room. In the distance,
that forces line.
Aldian.
Aldian.
Yeah, Jean Aldian in the BMW. He's he's making a charge here. He's had a couple good finishes, and I think he might be a wet ace because if you remember correctly at Imola, he stood up onto the podium. He got third place in the wet. So who knows? These conditions might favor Aldian. Some other drivers of note that these weather conditions favor, although not in the series, is Andreas Lakudis, who's known for, I believe he got a win in the wet. And he's a bronze-rated driver otherwise. So You never know. You got these drivers coming out of the woodwork. You got regular Jensen Buttons. You
Yeah,
know?
right. Is Andre? No, Andre said Lykutis isn't in this series, is he?
No, he's not. I
Okay.
believe he's
Just other
still racing
instances.
in Wednesdays though. Or
Yeah, he
yeah.
is. He's in 3D speed.
And if we could go to Silvestri and Stevenson, they're side by side down Kemmel with Butler in tow.
Absolutely. Oh, and Stevenson makes a move on the outside of Kemmel. That
And so
BMW
doesn't
just
Butler.
demolishing the straight, and Butler wants to look too. I had a prediction during the break when you went to the stewarding box that the Bentley would do particularly well this time, and then my prediction isn't working out super well. But Butler is yeah, well, he's clawed up several spots since starting, so maybe
Well,
it's too early to call.
he was as high as 5th for a moment. I think he had a scary moment going up Eau Rouge and lost some positions, but now he's got it under control and he's charging through the field again. I'd love to see an entirely new podium here. Archie's no stranger to the podium, but he hasn't gotten one yet this season. Burke is in his usual position, just holding on to 3rd somehow every race, no matter how heavy his car gets. And
Well, we're seeing Baker make a move, or Butler make a move. No, backs out from Blanchard, but goes around the inside. Oh, that was scary.
Butler's
Backed
an
out again.
experienced driver. I think he knows how to make a move here. I'd be more concerned. There he goes.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
Wait for Silvestri to make a bobble, but Silvestri says the inside, and Bentley understeers almost into the gravel. By sheer force of will, Butler's able to keep it out of the gravel, but now he's being hounded by Belotti, and maybe even Nelson behind.
Oh yeah, Nelson's sticking his nose in there. He's getting racy right now. This is going to be quite a Blanchiment.
Let's go with our chase cam. Forcing Belotti to the outside, and that Aston Martin just understeers too much, gives the Lamborghini the advantage.
Run from that green Mercedes in the back.
Horvitz, not entirely sure what happened to Nelson. It looks like this Lamborghini just struggled to hook up, and now we got battles with Tershin facing off with Belotti.
We've got some new drivers in the mix here, really dicing things up, trying to make a name for themselves in the mid-pack. And fantastic showing. That Mercedes is hooked up in the wet. I'll tell you that much.
It absolutely is. The last 3D speed. The last 3D speed at Monza, the Mercedes were unstoppable. It was in the wet, and they just had so much more stability and grip. Their traction control is fantastic too.
Yeah.
I was driving. Well, actually, that was GT4s. Never mind. But I mean, it looks like it. The analogy applies.
And Butler's side by side. He's got the position on Silvestri here. He's got the pull down the straightaway. I think Silvestri has. I talked to him pre-race this morning when he was getting some free practice laps in the wet, and he was saying that he thinks he's going to have to just go for a very conservative setup, lots of wing.
While you mentioned that, David Nelson oversteers out of Lecombe and ends up spinning. He don't think he hit anything, but that followed a tremendous move by Tershin under Belotti, who just applied the advantage of his car and outbroke the Aston Martin into Lecombe. Textbook.
Yeah, and now if we look over at Belotti, he's channeling his inner. He's our Brazilian in the field this season, the only one. Mm-hmm. He's channeling his inner Senna. He's,
I was gonna say.
Definitely trying to find his way through the wet here. He looks the part as well. He's got the yellow helmet and the green stripe. So not sure if he noticed that before the race. Everybody got new gear, so our drivers are looking pretty.
We're gonna have a quick little replay to capture something that happened that I couldn't quite follow. Tobin ends up spinning in Lecombe as well. I wonder if he got collected by Nelson. Oh, no, that's not Nelson. That's a Porsche. That's an AXRT car. It might be Castaño Muñoz.
I see. Castaño Muñoz is not having a great one here in the wet today. Going down in the Puan right now. Looks like he's got it gathered up. See if we can find... He's got some damage to the front end. The hood latch looks a little weak, and the right side of the car is damaged. Rear end looks fine. We'll have to see if he has any steering problems. It's a long way to go. It's 20 minutes to go, so you don't want to get damage here. It's more important to survive.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It looked like Nelson actually had some struggle trying to get past him. I don't think he contacted, but it looked like a shit show, to say the least.
And Tobin
And Tobin
is
is spun
off.
again in Pool this time.
Like he might be retiring.
Yep, he got towed back.
Alrighty, back to the action at hand.
Looks like the 22 and oh, so that's Baker and Burke again. They're still going at it. You notice that they've totally cleared out of anyone around them, so they're their own two-man show right now.
Yeah, believe it or
Wonder how long
not.
they can keep it up with this pressure, especially in the wet.
Well, right now they've dropped down. Baker ran a 31 flat. That might be the fastest lap of the race. Let's take a look
Baker's shown to
here.
be cool under pressure, at least in this race. Definitely not letting Burke. Burke has been very solid. He tends to struggle a little bit in the wet.
And I've got some sideline reporting for you. The
Absolutely.
green Mercedes is just put it off into the wall. See if you can get a replay of that. The green Mercedes
Okay.
of Horowitz. He gets it righted, but now Nelson's right behind him. He's lost about 4 spots.
Yeah, going down the Kemmel Straight into Lacombe. Looks like oh, grabbed one of those curbs. Yep, like as we mentioned earlier, nosed into the wall just a little bit. That didn't look like too bad of damage, but getting this has been our touchy point for this entire race so far.
Oh yeah, no more like no touchy the curbs. Don't
Well,
do it.
we advise no touchy, but the drivers just can't stop.
Yeah.
They're addicted to the shindig.
Yeah.
Their
Well,
mama says
David
they're gonna
Jones
win
is
big.
taking the field, taking
Right.
the race again, the track again, out of pit lane, which is good to see because this is a double points race. So even finishing last of this field, you're looking at scoring 10 or 12 points, which while that seems minor, in contrast, if this was a regular race, that'd only be 4 or 5. So it is a big deal, especially if you're someone that is a mid packer. There's
Absolutely.
definitely the opportunity to get a
Well,
decent finish up on the people. Right now, if you want to bring up our point standings, we could talk about that mid pack points fiesta.
Absolutely. Get just one quick second. I'd like to point out Marco Bessi, 8th place. What a fantastic first race for him, especially on a double points outing as this is Spa. We didn't go over it, but this is a 1 hour and 30-minute race. As always, mandatory pit stop centered in the middle, but this is a 20-minute pit window, so a little bit extra time. Good idea, Justin, though. Let's go over some standings while we're here. Let's start with our pro standings. So with our starting teams, Liberty Belgian Audi Club with Brandon Baker, Matt Higgs, Sean Kenny. They are demolishing as currently 343, leading the next team, which is AXRT. That's Albert Arjona, Wesley Stokes, and Javier Castaño Munoz with 206. Got a substantial gap. But AXRT's consistency has kept them in the running. If they do well in this points double points race, it could give them a leg up. 140 points is not it's ultra difficult to come by in these double points events. Next is Team Walking Horse Motorsport with Javier Eugeni and John Aldi, and they picked up a spot 155 versus and we see in the background John Archie under fire from Matt Higgs.
We'll have to come back to these standings. This race is for the lead is much more important.
We got the picture-in-picture going right now, so we can keep it an eye on that as well. Anyway, they picked up a spot. They're now leading Hub Auto Corsa, Carlo Durazio and Gianluca Leluca by 10 points. So not too difficult to pick that up. And then finally, we have Barwell Motorsports with Jean Archie, Larry Foster, David Nelson, and P. Spencer. Pull them last place, but they're only trailing by about 20 points. They have 119 to the next 145. So that will not be hard to come by, especially in this double points race. With our driver championship for the pros, we have Matt Higgs leading with 248, Andrew Burke 231, Javier Castaño Munoz with 199. Now I have those marked as low threat, but in this double points race, they actually could be foreseen as a threat. We have Sean Kenny and Albert Arjona with 119 and 118. They both picked up a bunch of spots. Sean Kenny picked up 3, and Albert Arjona picked up 9 with this fantastic last race. Dominic Turcotte and John Archie are next. They are currently tied. Turcotte lost a couple spaces after last race, and Archie picked up one, so they both have 115 points. And they're trailed by the ever-persistent Javier Eugeni in 8th who has 109 points. He actually lost a couple positions as well. Brandon Baker is next, followed by Gianluca DeLuca, Brandon Stanbook, Max Simmons. Max Simmons lost a bunch of points, as did Rachel Guerin behind. They're only within a couple of points though, of each other, so we could be seeing some battles here at the back of the field. Dave Nelson and Wesley Stokes, no change there, but they are slowly catching up. So with that quick rundown.
Quite the rundown.
Yes.
Well, while that was happening, Baker made the pass on Burke and has taken 3rd place from him.
Oh yes, I didn't see that. I had the auto director on while we were watching, and I guess it decided to prioritize Gianmarco Silvestri for some reason. He did have a good race with Bellotti, but not much happened.
Oh no, one of the AXRT cars is off into the wall. That's Wesley Stokes.
That is Wesley Stokes.
Silvestri dives to the inside of the... Ooh, he's got a lot of front end damage. I'm wondering if he helped Stokes off there.
Eau Rouge claims another victim. Those Porsches, during practice we saw Ayrton Tobin go off a few times. The Porsche leads with its back end, right? We also have another car off. That's Tommaso Bino. Eau Rouge again claims a victim, and we don't get to really see on the outside, so the camera doesn't catch that.
Yeah, it's a really weird place for him to be. He didn't hit the wall yet. I'm curious. He looks like he's trying to get it going. Yeah, it seems like it's stalled on him, and going uphill in the wet is might be hard to get it rolling. Something's going on. He's pulling over to the wall.
Yeah, and he's still sitting there.
Very odd.
Right now, big battle. We have the number 35. That's not entirely sure who that is actually.
That's a 35 is
Eugenie. That's Javier Eugenie. Yes, that's right. Doing battle with Marco Besti and Sean Kenny. They've been battling actually for a while, but they have never been so close. Arjona ahead has taken advantage of the situation. Has just left them for dead. Almost 10 seconds between them now.
And it looks like the rain is going to be stopping in about 15 minutes. Our forecast is showing us no rain in 15 minutes, which, by the way, coincides with the pit window opening. Pit window opens in 12 minutes.
So that could be a strategic move that drivers have to make. How quickly would you... The temperature is relatively warm, 20 degrees Celsius, track temp almost 25. So it will start evaporating, the puddles will start disappearing. Will it be quick enough to justify switching to full dries, or do you think some will be people going to intermediates?
Well, there is no intermediate tire.
There isn't an intermediate.
No, World GT Challenge runs wets and dries. There's no intermediate tire.
Well, there you go.
There you go. The question is more about, will a driver choose to stretch the wets into the non-raining but still wet track? When do you come in for the pits? When are those wets hurting you? They have to time the track drying out, basically. If they get onto the slicks too soon, tire pressures will be all types of wrong. They won't be able to get the heat in them. There'll be all sorts of problems. So they have to time the pit stop during the window when the rain ends. So it's going to be a tight one. But it looks like we're going to see a transition from wet at the start, dry at the end.
Absolutely. One thing that'll be really interesting is to see how they spread out their pit stops. Normally we see them just pit on a somewhat varied schedule, but it's totally possible that they tried to, with this track trying to dry out, and see they stay on wets toward the end of the pit stop. We might see pit stops delayed more than we have in the past, and that's definitely possible. Especially, as you said, with the track drying but not completely dry. Keeping on those old wets might turn out to be an advantage.
Yeah, I think as long as the track is wet enough to justify the wet tires, you could see guys staying out on them to make sure that they get the best visual representation of what is going to happen in the future. For all we know, we could only be they could say dry or rain stopping in 15 minutes, and then when we get there, the forecast could show us that the rain is going to start back up again. And those guys that stopped immediately to try to undercut on dry tires while the track was still wet, they might have big problems if it starts raining again at the end of this race. So we'll have to see what happens with wets. We'll have to see what happens as far as a dry line forming on track. I will say, though, watching this race right now, watching our leaders, I'm getting shades of the last 24 hours in October when we saw the two WRT Audis leading the race. I believe Caldarelli was in. Yeah. There was James Calderon in 4th or 3rd in the Ferrari, much like we see now, and then there was also the ever dangerous Triple F Lamborghini hanging out towards the front of the pack until nearly the end of the race. So mirroring real life as far as what vehicles tend to do well here in the wet, being the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, and the Audis stick out most of all.
Which, at least intuitively to me, is kind of interesting because, at least in my experience, the Audi and Lamborghini are varying shades of oversteery. I mean, the mid engines like to rotate out a little bit, but they seem to be doing very well here. Uh, Kind of inverse to what we predicted. The Aston Martins are seem to be struggling a little bit. Bellotti is still battling with Silvestri, and he's struggling to get away, even though his Aston Martin should be pretty superior. And we just saw P. Spencer get flipped around right after the bus stop, battling with the Max Simmons. We just had a gunshot in the distance. I think there's some artillery fire. The Germans might be invading again. But that happens every so often. We just don't worry about it.
Every 100 years, we're coming up on it.
Yes, yeah, something like that. We're kind of overdue. Um, but we are actually also seeing Javier Eugeni caught right in the middle of just the messy battle that's been going and building. We do see Marco Bessi getting wide and Blanchimont. Actually, that's not Blanchimont. That is a Pool. And we saw a car sideways. I believe that might be Sean Kenny, the Audi that was just battling. Yes, it is.
Sean Kenny, yeah. And, right now, as it sits, even if Sean Kenny, finishes 10th place, that's still a tremendous amount of points with Higgs and Baker in 2-3 formation or fashion here. If you're AXRT, you have to hope that Aldian and Burke and Turcotte are going to turn it on and maybe break up the 2nd and 3rd place of Higgs and Baker, because if they finish 2nd, 3rd here, bearing disaster in the second half of the season, they're going to be looking real pretty. Looking real pretty in the second half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's unfortunately AXRT has been on a losing streak, a just really unlucky streak the last few races, and really when they didn't need it. Oh wow, Baker! I just saw on my alternate screen Baker comes really close to losing it through a Rouge and actually ends up not losing basically any time at all. So good on him, but that was really scary. We could have just seen that dissolve right as quickly as we were talking about it. Commentator's curse almost taking a spot here. Baker appears to have applied his plot armor though, so it's he's escaping the clutch so far. But
right.
yes, XRT's been struggling to regain any momentum against WRT Audi. In past GG challenges, they've been very consistent and very strong. But we saw Arjona have struggles. Castagna Muniz struggled at Zandvoort particularly, and so we're gonna have to see if they can pull a rabbit out of the hat.
Yeah, and right now it's not looking too good. Castano and Stokes both have some damage. They're racing with each other right now in 19th and 20th, respectively. Being that it's double points as far as an individual championship, it's going to hurt them down the line. We're going to see some pretty big shakeups right now. I think if the race was to finish where it ends as far as driver championships, we'll see a big change up.
We're seeing Javier Eugeni, sorry to interrupt you, we're seeing Javier Eugeni make a bold move on the inside of Messi, and oh, what happened? There was another car off. That might have been Burke? No, that wasn't a red car. Wait, who was that?
That's Dave Jones in the Ferrari.
Though that was a lapped car, that's correct. Interesting, the map is not showing him as back marker. Huh. Well, in any case, that was a scary maneuver, but ended up working out in Eugeni's favor. Ditto with James Butler behind.
And Butler's back up to 10th. He would have loved to have not had his early mishap because he was in 5th place in gaining. And with all the time he's gained on the rest of the field so far, we'd be looking at, another driver that could potentially be up in that top 4, top 5 mix. Who knows? We'll have to see what happens after pit stop cycles. But fingers crossed for... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I thought you were finished.
Oh, I was going to say, fingers crossed for championship hopes for the rest of the teams out there that something does drastically happen as far as the rest of the field giving Higgs and Baker a run for their money. Because right now, just like we saw at Bathurst, they until Baker had some tragedy strike, they were running away with it. It seems like this team has prioritized two X points races.
So we just saw dual challenges through Campus and Stavlo. First off, Tershin had a really sketchy slide. Didn't end up losing it, but lost quite a few positions to Silvestri, Nelson, and Durazio. Looks like Silvestri's getting hounded by Durazio, who's going outside of the bus stop. But Nelson holds them up, and it forces a really awkward situation. They disband, but Nelson spins in the bus stop, and Silvestri hits him. It looked like Durazio got involved as well. Tershin's back up, but Silvestri backs up into Nelson. Durazio actually gets the better in this case.
And
What a
yeah,
cluster.
unfortunately, Horowitz, I believe, is a lapped car, or else he would have made out like a bandit. He had an accident earlier in the race, it appears. I know he was concerned about the level of wet, and he was actually doing quite well up until his accident. We'll have to watch the car. I'm keeping a close eye on the new drivers to see how they're all doing, and so far with Tershin,
Looks like
not doing too bad.
Looks like Silvestri took some bad damage. He's actually towed back to pits.
That is
So
very unfortunate.
that's super
with 3
unfortunate for
minutes
him.
left, with 3 minutes left, the car was on. All he had to do was limp it around one more time, and he could have maybe saved himself the extra stop.
Not only the extra stop, but the delay of having to get towed back and then wait in the pits while they repair all the extra damage and stuff.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Especially because Spa is like the most deadly, pit lane in the entire calendar. Essentially, I don't know of anything
for sure.
I don't know of anything more deadly. To your point, so that is.
So with that,
I almost wonder if he might have had a little bit of an overreaction there. It looked like he took a couple of hits, but I didn't think they were that forceful. They were in the bus stop.
Yeah, I don't know. I know he was already struggling with some damage before that. It's a real shame because I think he maybe could have been in a position to make it one more lap. With at that point, it's even better to go slower on your lap so that you time pit window opening.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah. So a damn shame. Not entirely sure if that was a planned move to buy Durazio or he just got frustrated. Either case is definitely possible. Looking now at Dominic Turcotte versus Alberto Arjona. Turcotte has had a pretty steady race, perhaps maybe owing to that Mercedes stability. Arjona for AXRT trying to make up any possible positions he can. He's currently leading the Porsches and his team in 7th place, but he really needs to try and push to get just any shred of points. Because right now their team is being outscored perhaps by double even.
Almost certainly. Almost certainly. You're looking at Higgs in 2nd and Baker in 3rd. Between the two of them, you're looking at 170 points.
Kenny also picked up a position from Stevenson, made his way up to 11th. Not entirely sure how that worked out, but he was in 12th a couple of minutes ago. So it's possible that it's only getting worse and worse for XRT. They need a little bit of a miracle, and they might get it. We can see the forecast updating. 5 and 15-minute forecasts are clouds, but no more rain. So, and we can see the track status has been upgraded to damp from wet.
Yeah, and the Porsche just motors right past Dominic. He's got all the confidence in the world on this damp track.
Exactly. So the Porsche struggles pretty hard in the wet just owing to that rear engine, but once it stops, it's a bit of a beast. It's a very popular choice, and I can see that being a potent one indeed. It's almost just like a slightly better a Bentley in some ways.
Yeah, and it looks like the WRT cars, if they planned on diving into the pits this lap, will not be able to because pit window is not open. It's now open though, so
It's
they
just
have
open,
to go one more. I'm curious how they plan on trying to cycle things to see if they're going to maximize the bonus point for leading a lap. Remember, it is a double points weekend, so everything is double here. 2 points for leading a lap.
Exactly. Double points, double time, double pit lane length.
Yeah, everything is doubled here. Just a double cheeseburger of a race.
Mmm, delicious.
And we've got our first pit
Supersize
lane
me.
taker in Turcotte. He has some front end damage. He might have clipped the wall, which would explain why Arjona was
Checks
catching
out.
him. So he's gonna go ahead and get in the pit lane.
And the track is drying out faster than I think I would have predicted. Already we can see some of the larger puddles start to go away, even though it still technically is sprinkling. So maybe getting in the pit strategy early is going to be the determining factor. We'll have to see.
It definitely could pay off. In these damp conditions, you might be able to run as fast or faster than the wet tires. Remember, we don't have an intermediate. They are full wet tires or full slick tires. There's no intermediate tire.
Definitely. Meanwhile, that battle between John Barker and David Nelson has, even despite their kerfuffle earlier, has not dissolved too much. Barker going around the outside of Nelson through Blanchimont and into the bus stop. That straight line advantage of that V12 Aston Martin, but he breaks too early or late, and Nelson dives to the pits, and then Barker spins. Tries to over-rotate on the outside, catches a curb, almost. Castagna Muniz hits him. Almost.
Okay,
That
he's
could've-
got it righted now. Almost had to go back into the bus stop to get it going.
Well, at that point, you know, there's only so much you can do, and I think at the, you know, at some point I'm almost kind of surprised he didn't go into the pits.
Yeah, he certainly could have considered it with the way he had spun there. I will say I'm surprised that more drivers aren't gambling on getting the slicks out early. When you're someone who's in the back of the field, looks like Nelson is in the pits, or is that Archie? No, that's Nelson.
No,
in the pits
Nelson
now.
dove after that incident with Barker. He split off. Ooh,
Okay,
now it's
and
getting racy.
Baker,
Matt Higgs getting passed by Baker, but he goes around, tries to hit Archie at the same time. Archie cuts the bus stop. There's a little bit of team-on-team action here. I'm not entirely sure what Baker was thinking. That could have been really dangerous. They were maybe millimeters apart. Matt Higgs going around the inside of La Source of John Archie, who messing up bus stop. They have contact. Archie gets sideways but recovers it. Baker tries to go around the inside of Higgs. What are they thinking?
this is exactly what AXRT wants. The more experienced team wants the younger team to cause problems for each other.
Oh, they're too hungry. What is going on?
You know,
Baker
these guys are all contracted by WRT to fly under that umbrella, but I think both of them want the win.
No kidding. Matt Higgs now Baker making move on the inside of Matt Higgs yet again into Lacombe.
Now, if you notice, instead of following in their draft, Archie did something very, very smart there. He stuck his car in the wet surface of the track. He's trying to stretch these wet tires as long as he can. Matt Higgs gets a love tap from Archie because he gets loose going over the curbs here. I think Archie's smart. Archie is trying to find the wet on the surface. He's trying to find where the track is wettest, keeping those tires as cool as possible. We might see him take some really obtuse lines going onto the straightaways to try and find a little bit more of a puddle just to keep them under control.
Baker actually extends his leads after that wiggle from Matt Higgs and his dealings with Archie. Oh no, yes, that's correct. I was looking at the timing. The timing is off. I'm baffled as to what they're doing.
Stevenson dives into the pits in 11th place here. Bessie is still out. Kenny is out. Butler is out. Eugenie is out. Arjona is still out. So most of our top 10 is still out. I think Turcotte and Stevenson are the highest competitors to have dove into pit lane so far.
Checks out.
We'll have to see where they come out. Dano Muniz staying out, going for the overcut.
So this will be the first lap that WRT Team Audi gets a point for leading the race.
Yes, and it is going
unless
to
they both elect to pit, which I think is unlikely. Although there is traffic coming up ahead.
Yeah, that's the Turcotte, and now you can just see how crazy the pit lane is here because Turcotte was 7th place when he entered the pits. He wants to.
Oh, Mercedes action!
He's getting
Oh,
freight
it looks
here.
like David Nelson also spinning at. No, that's not David Nelson. That might be Jones. Spencer. It looks like Spencer. It's Spencer.
It's Spencer. Okay, I was gonna say it's got to be one of them. Spencer throws it into pit lane. Oh no! Higgs is around! Higgs is around in La Source. And just like that, Archie takes the place back from him. Burke takes the place back from him.
Yikes.
And all I can say is Wow, wee wow. Gotta get a replay of that?
Sorry, Justin. We had some internet issues, some connection issues.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure what happened there. But actually, I did catch a glimpse of it. It looks like Archie might have tapped Higgs around in La Source.
We'll have to
I
see
think
how this plays out.
he's getting really racy, and I think he might have given him a little bit of a tap. But Higgs is now down past Burke again. So actually, it ended up being smart that Baker made that really bold move. I think that's more incidental than anything, but you know, you probably the team principal's probably still pretty angry. But it ended up working out in this time.
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, Burke is still, I believe he's second in points. So he'd love to claw back some points on Higgs. He's been Mr. Consistent, finishing on the podium every single race this season, I think.
Yes, he is.
You know, and there he goes. He blows by Turcotte.
So one thing interesting, we were just watching a little bit of Max Simmons, who's clawed his way back up to 17th after falling to 22nd. That is even though some people have pitted, that is a couple of positions advantage from where he was. As we predicted, that Rex is not the most well suited for this track nor conditions, but he's able to make it work a little bit.
He's hanging in there. He's got a lot of heart.
Yeah.
So
He
the
was worried
track
that he's even going to be
conditions.
able to make this race because his VPN was causing connection issues.
Well, I'm glad to see that he made it. Got
Yeah.
the car going. So interestingly, the track is still reading as damp. There's not enough sunshine to really dry the track out. It makes you wonder if the drivers that dove in early, if that was the play. They may have issues with their tires not holding temperatures. So we'll have to see what happens here. I think staying out to the end of pit lane might be the play here to maximize that. Aldian comes into pit lane, scrapes the wall a little bit. It's a really tight entrance. So that's 5th place into pits. And I believe that is the 69 car going around doing a donut out of the bus stop. Yes, that is. That is Chris
Stevenson.
doing a nice little donut for effect there. He dove early from 11th place to put on those slicks, and I don't think that was the play. I think he needed to stay out just a little bit longer.
It does not seem to be paying off. An update on our weather. It's still cloudy. Track and air is not increasing in temperature. We have 1 degree increase over the last 15 minutes. So not ideal for drying conditions. I think Andrew Burke, we're watching now with that play to conserve wet tires, might be working to his favor. Andrew Burke is no stranger to wet conditions, nor is he to longer races such as this. So he's got the experience under his belt. He knows how to handle this kind of stuff, especially being in that Ferrari that's generally pretty grippy. Meanwhile,
Let's
Matt
see.
Higgs behind might be struggling a little bit in these kind of conditions.
Yeah. Yep. He's I think he got out of his rhythm from that contact, and now he's trying to get it back under him. So looking at pit lane, it's pretty busy right now. We've got Bilotti in the pit lane. I believe we had a BMW. We have Aldian in pit lane and Eugenie. They're double stacking as teammates. We've got Butler is still out. Kenny is still out. Arjona is still out. I'm curious if Baker is going to go until the end of the pit window to try to hold off anyone else from gaining bonus points for leading a lap. Baker is going to go. Archie currently has the most laps led and the lead lap bonus, which is 5 total points this race.
Yes, that does sound correct. Apologies, I was my attention was gathered by or was requested by the Twitch bot, who didn't like Cliff Hemian using a curse word.
That's all right. The
Any
moderation
case,
is left to strict usually.
yes.
Okay, Higgs dives into the pits now.
Meanwhile, Adam Brosh still battling Max Simmons. The two kind of ugly ducklings of this particular race. Not because they're ugly, but they're not very well suited for this track. The Rex and the BMW are both varying flavors of difficult, shall we say, in these conditions.
Max Simmons taking all the wet he can to keep those tires alive. A few more laps, hoping the rest of the track dries out. David Brosh not electing to do so. But that's okay. They're teammates here, so they shouldn't be racing each other too hard. Although they're different cars, they are both part of Boots and Guinion.
Well, while they are different cars, they're cut from the same cloth. If not in origins, at least in principle. Both very straight line speed oriented vehicles.
You had me for a second there. Yes, they are. They are both very straight line focused cars. One of them is an acceleration car, and one of them is it has legs, so to speak. So it's they're definitely, you can see that as we come out of corners, and the Max Simmons just absolutely leaves the BMW.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're having a moment right now. We almost saw contact between Archie and Burke. So Burke has made some tremendous room up on Archie, and as we accidentally click on something on the wrong camera. Oh no,
Looks
sorry,
like
that was wait, what happened? Did he?
looks like Bessie is throwing it up. He's got the outside going down Kemmel. Butler on the inside. He slams the door shut, and he manages to keep the position going into the corner. That's a very bold outside move on Kemmel.
I'm not entirely sure what happened there. We might have had some. Did I just read the names wrong? Huh. Well, it wasn't this. It was definitely an Audi, but all right. Well, I thought it was Archie and Burke, but maybe I just didn't know what I was talking about. In any case, yes, Bessie versus Butler is going well. Butler is making well. He's been clawing his way up the ranks this entire time. Is now in 6th, trying to make that a 5th. That Bentley is pretty potent at Spa, and seems to
Yeah,
be
he
doing well
had
in the rain as
fifth.
well.
He had fifth. Bessie just passed him going down Kemmel
Oh,
for fifth
oh, okay.
place.
Oh, yes.
But we'll see what happens. It seems like the Ferrari is a little bit better up Eau Rouge, and the Bentley is a little bit better through this midsection with
But
all that tire width it has.
Butley, what? Butler. I guess they, he's trying to change his name, I suppose. He tries to throw it up into campus, but Bessie throws a block and puts it right in the middle of the track, forces Butler to go to the inside. Now ditto happens through Stavolo, and Butler gets the better of it this time, back into 5th. And now we have our 2, 3, and 4 going into pits. We have Baker, Burke, and Arjona all electing to pit at the same time. Now the pit window only has 7 minutes left, and that's 3 laps maybe if you're brave. But we're running out of time here, so it's not the worst idea ever. And we also have Bessie and Butler both taking their pits as well. Of note, Yadong Tershin making his way up to 7th, qualifying back in the middle of the pack, and there he has passed cars that have taken their pit stop, but only 4 or 5 as of yet. So he's been doing well in his first outing with ESR, or the GD Challenge at the very least.
Looking at these cars here, some of the cars that still need to make their pit stops are Jones, Big Lino, who I think he's all but retired. We've got Jones here. Silvestri, he had to take an unscheduled stop just before the pit window. I think had he been able to manage to bring it around, he'd be in a much better position right now, as he'd probably be up closer to maybe Simmons or Nelson. Probably Nelson. It's a shame that he had to take the unscheduled stop.
So it looks like that Archie might have gotten. Wait, no, that's not Archie. That might be lap traffic. Never mind. Archie isn't even in the pits. I saw Baker being followed by a blue Lamborghini, and I thought that Archie had jumped a pit, but looks like
No,
that
that's
was
the Lamborghini of
Jones. Nelson.
no, that's actually the Max Simmons in the older
Oh.
blue Lamborghini.
Oh, really? I thought
Yeah,
that was a
they're
Huracan.
coming out of pit lane.
Well, shows you what I know, I guess.
It's all right. He's got Tershin behind him in the orange and green, and then behind that is, I believe, Nelson. Yes, that's Nelson behind. So we're
Archie
almost
elects.
finished with pit cycles.
Yeah, Archie again electing to drive by. He's only got, maybe next lap will have to be his pit. Got 5 minutes
Yeah.
left, and it's about a 2:30 lap.
I
We
think
can see
he's
lap
just
times falling
locking
already.
everybody out. Yeah, they are. People are picking up the pace. They're on the slick tires. The track is considered greasy now by race control.
That's correct. Temperatures have gone down again, though. Interesting. Ooh, Archie gets a little bit squirrely in Eau Rouge.
Yeah, we can see the dry line on the track here, that light gray forming. Have to see which drivers are able to adhere to it and get the max out of the maximum grip that they can. Yudong Turchin is, believe it or not, he is in third, now moved up to second place because Baker had a little bit of a moment where he got sideways but kept it straight. And it's interesting, had Archie elected to pit last lap instead of staying out as long as he had on the rain tires, Turchin would have actually been in a position to
Pick up a
get
point.
a bonus point for leading a lap despite not even being in the top 15.
Yeah.
That just goes to show you how crazy this pit lane is and why you should really try to see if you can't maximize some strategy. I think Turchin's going into the pits now. He could have made it one more lap. We'll have to see if Archie
It
dives into
would
the
be
pits.
close.
I think he would make it. Be close, but I think he would make it. As far as Archie goes, though, Archie isn't going to make it. So believe it or not, Turchin could have stayed out. Archie would have had to have pit this lap because Archie won't make it another lap. But Turchin was just inside that window, and he absolutely could have gotten the bonus points for leading a lap. It's a shame that maybe he didn't see that opportunity. It would have been something interesting, a fun footnote in the race's history as who is this guy? Where did he get this point from?
Yeah.
But it is what it
Well,
is.
you know, it's unfortunately in these series, we are more of an amateur organization, and so we don't have the. In real life, you probably have a pit crew being able to min max that for you. We see the trio of Andrew Burke, Matt Higgs, and I believe Albert Arjona go through Eau Rouge and cut a little bit. So unfortunately, yeah, you can't. It's not that easy to. Actually, that's Wesley Stokes. My bad. But Turchin still doing remarkably well as he does make it to his pit stall, and Archie, as we predicted, goes for the pits. There was just no making that happen without the pit this time. Um, and I mean, even if he was trying to min max, it would be an interesting. He's just joined the season halfway through, so he could pick up some positions, but he's not really in the running for overall.
Well, yes and no. I mean, we had what was his name? Lugoshi, who's had some unfortunate funding issues as far as the car's motor blew up, and he
The
didn't
the,
have the
the
funding to get a
cars,
new V12.
yeah, the car's graphics horsepower
Yeah,
failed.
but he, believe it or not, he's actually just outside the top 10. He's got 84 points. 10th place is 97, and he's only made the first race. So that's how devastating a double points race finish can be.
That is
So,
fair.
um, we were potentially talking about him making a comeback for this race should his PC allow for it. And even if all he did was show up for the three double points races, you could still finish top 5. If you won all 3 of the double points races and that's all you did all season, you could finish top 3, maybe, definitely top 5. I think we're looking at almost 350 points.
Depending on the performance of the other drivers, it's definitely possible. Matt Higgs getting really close to the Andrew Burke. A little bit of contact through the bus stop, but it doesn't really cause anything. Wesley Stokes is watching there in the background with his eyes wide, just saying, "Please don't get me involved in anything." And we also have Jean Aldian getting racy with. I'm not entirely sure that's a Ferrari. It might be
That's Gianmarco Silvestri.
Silvestri. Okay. As you said about Agino Lugoshi, though, that's a great transition to have a look at our AM standings. We got to look at the pro standings, or I should say pro AM, actually. Just real quick, probably won't go into as much detail as last time. We have, of course, the Spirit of Race with 223 currently leading the championship. They've been there the whole time so far. Bouts and Guinean picked up a position from our Motorsports, 214 to 211. Our Motorsports then lost their position. Inu Lugoshi, Arthur Bellotti. Meanwhile, Garage 59 with Josh McLaughlin, Shoei Nagase, and Rachel Guerin with 165, not moving. Ditto to Team Straka Racing, Team Parker as well, and Rinaldi rounding out our
Noticeably
pro-am
absent.
teams.
The Garage 59, not here today.
Yeah, not a single member is here, so that's going to be That's going to be pretty hurtful when it comes to their championship. They're only 30 points up on Team Straka, and they're only 100 points up on the other two. So it is
A big deal. It's
yeah, it could
unfortunate.
yeah, even only with John Butler. No, it's, James Butler. God damn it. I wrote it wrong in the thing. But even with only him showing up, he's doing pretty well. I'm a mess, man. Even with him showing up, he could pick up quite a few points with his current 7th position. So that's an unfortunate thing. Drivers, real quick, are silvers. We got John Barker, Josh McLaughlin, uh, McLaughlin, Durazio, Lugosi, and Aldian, and even Silvestri following are really close to each other within only maybe a handful of points. Durazio and McLaughlin are only within a single point. Durazio picked up a position against Inu Lugosi, as we mentioned earlier. He is not. Has had car problems. We got Matt Higgs hot on the tail of Andrew Burke, though, as they approach the bus stop. He got really aggressive through Blanchimont. Now everyone's on identical tires, but Burke's tires are cleaner. They're fresher.
Now, this here with Matt Higgs, he's got the lap down team car of Wesley Stokes in his rear mirror, right?
Mhm.
Matt Higgs right now is having flashbacks. Now, let me tell you why. Because 3 seasons ago, when I raced on AXRT, he was in the same position, only this time I was in front of him as a lapped car with my teammate Xavier chasing
Also in a
him at
Porsche,
the
right?
same track. Also in the Porsche, although Matt Higgs was in the Lamborghini as he's more known for. But if you think that there wasn't some calls coming down from Porsche saying, hey, we need you to make that car a little bit wider than it needs to be, you're out of your mind. So now with Wesley gaining so much time on him, it stands to question, is Wesley going to force the issue to unlap himself? And is he going to take his time doing it? Would he, you know what I mean? Is because
Yeah.
Arjona is in 6th place right now. And he's not that far back. He's only 2-3 corners back. So he's only about 15 seconds off. It stands to reason that Wesley might be under some team orders to put that Porsche where it don't belong. You know what I mean?
It's possible. I mean, I think it would certainly be fun. Wesley has had a pretty rough race so far. It's been multiple times, but he still is in 19th. Still got some points coming his way. The question is really, yeah, how much does he want to get involved with this, and how much are there any team orders coming down from on high
I mean, right
to stick the
now,
nose in?
yeah, and right now he's only 10 seconds back from Nelson, and Nelson's only 3 seconds back from Barker. There is a break up to Bessie, but I'm sorry, am I looking at the wrong? No, yeah, I
No,
am.
you're looking
So
at you're right.
he's really it stands to reason that with a 12-second gap for 2 positions, he's within his right to try and unlap himself and go chase those spots. So I wonder how aggressive he's going to be on that. It would serve to help him and his team twofold.
Well, he is very, very close to Higgs, was certainly within a half a second, and nope. It looked like for a second he's gonna make.
Whoa!
Ooh, oh, that was close.
Oh man,
I
he's giving
spoke too
Higgs the
soon, I
stare.
think.
He's giving him the piggly wigglies in his
He's
stomach when he comes up behind
he's.
him.
I think he's giving him a spook. He's spooking him.
He's letting him
That
know, hey
obviously
man.
caused him to drop a little bit, but he's right back on his tail.
Yeah, I think we might see maybe he makes a move going down Kemmel if he's able to keep close through our Rouge, because I know that the Porsche actually has a little bit more top end in the draft. Excuse me.
Absolutely all right. Yeah, it's we'll have to see. The Audi is no slouch, but the Porsche might have something to say about it though. Although, like, we're
Questionable
watching the
cut
Kemmel
from
right
Higgs.
now. Yeah, that was interesting. Not entirely sure about that, but no penalties, so
We'll have to see if there's any protests after the race for drivers complaining about the way other drivers were taking a Rouge. We in the 3D speed, we had an issue with drivers not properly slaloming. That's a word to say 5 times fast through the first
I'd
chicane
rather
when
not,
they
thank
miss
you.
it. So
So
and penalties were handed out for that. So there is ESR precedent that if you cut something, it doesn't, just because the game doesn't penalize you doesn't mean that repeat offenders or egregious offenders can't be reported and or
Well,
taken
that
down a
that
notch.
that might be a little different because I do remember the steward of that or the manager of that series put specific emphasis on uh, that Variante Primavera chicane cut, the slalom there. So I suppose the question is up to you, Justin. Will there
If
be
if there was something egregious, I'd go after it. One cut here or there, it's not a problem. It is what it is. It's part of Eau Rouge, especially in damp, greasy conditions. So it's no big deal. But if someone says, "Hey, this guy ahead of me cut cut it every lap or every other lap or multiple times," and to try when I got close to him, he cut it or anything untoward, yeah, we could talk about that. We could definitely have a conversation about that.
the real
But so
the
far so good. No one's
well,
really been cutting
I'm in a unique position to be to have you as co-commentator being such an integral piece to the series because we've been seeing a lot. I mean, it's somewhat forgivable-ish that they cut O'Ruse, especially. Oh wow, Stokes going for another late break and almost takes out Higgs again. Of course, he avoided him, but that was there's a little bit of holding breath going on there for a second. Anyway. We've had plenty of people cutting Eau Rouge, which is somewhat, I argue, is somewhat understandable given how treacherous it is in the wet. Of note, though, I was just making note to mention this, but track in like a couple of minutes was upgraded from damp to greasy, and now it just got upgraded to green in the last few seconds. So, but temperatures continue to fall. We're now down to 20 air and 22 track, down from 25 a couple of minutes ago. So it
Yeah,
is
the sun's heading
cooling.
down. Even though it's behind the clouds, it's getting cooler. It's late in the day. We're looking at about
So we're going to see grip levels just skyrocketing in the next couple of minutes.
we're going on. We're closing in on about we're just after 5 o'clock server time p.m. So it's getting later in the day here.
We have the A88 of Bessie spinning in Bruxelles. Not exactly good, but anyway, I keep getting distracted. People cutting a lot in Eau Rouge just because of the treacherousness. Do you think there'd be a defense in saying that well it was still unstable and greasy, or
Well, I'm watching. I'm sorry. I'm listening to you, but I'm watching this car.
what's happening?
There's a car stopped in the hairpin after Kemmel Straight.
That's Bessie. He just got towed back, I believe.
I'm sorry, I hopped into the steward channel so that I could communicate that because some of the leaders were coming up onto him.
Oh, that's totally all right. I was just
Bessie
wondering what was going on.
retired from the series or from the race entirely. Is an odd decision considering how
Wow,
well
he
his
was
race is going.
17th.
Yeah, he was
Huh.
having a good race. Higgs looking racy in the draft of Burke now
Yep.
as we snap back to the action here.
We're seeing various flavors of 2 laps and 3 laps ago. It's almost a cut copy paste right now, and we're seeing Stokes make great use of that. Higgs goes wide into bus stop, and
Wow.
Stokes almost. Are we watching Groundhog Day right now? What is going on?
I
We're
think
seeing it's repeating over and over again. Has the time
I
advanced at all? Do I need to be pinched? Am I dreaming?
Well, I'll tell you this much. I think Stokes is trying to rattle Higgs's cage. I really think he's trying to rattle his cage. Maybe he's not going to go for the pass. Maybe he thinks that's a little too obvious. But I think now he's trying to spook Higgs into making a mistake. I
Well, it
love
worked
it.
for me. That is
I love it.
that's
Higgs held
so ballsy.
steadfast, though.
Yeah, I mean, well, even in spite of being so far back, Higgs's ongoing battle with Burke has caused him to be able to be reeled in by Stokes every lap. I mean, it's happened 3 times so far.
Yeah, and Aldine and Arjona lost a little bit of time avoiding the off car of number 888 of Bessie, Marco
Bessie.
Bessie.
Hmm.
But no contact, I believe so. At least none that upset the cars at all. So they're moving along. They're at the top of Kessel now. Meanwhile, Archie is about to go down into Pouans. So they're ways back, but not insurmountable. Maybe in
Maybe,
25 minutes,
maybe,
insurmountable.
maybe we'll have a tiny look at that battle actually, because I just noticed that Baker is still right on Archie's tail.
And it looks like we have a I believe that's David Brosh. David Brosh is off at the top of a Rouge Radion. Looks like he needs to get it righted here. He's got a bit of a window to get it going. Looks like he managed to keep it mostly off the wall. Yeah, he kept it off the wall. So
Yeah.
the car is driving okay. He just needs to get it in gear.
So as Archie and Baker go through Blanchimont, it's worth discussing what's WRT Audi's plan. Obviously, getting more points is better, but Burke and Archie stand almost no threat. Their teams stand almost no threat to the Audi juggernaut as it stands. Higgs has shown to be a little over bold in cases of like this, where he doesn't
Wow.
stand too much to get. Like, look at this, he's going so aggressive.
I don't think Higgs
What?
has much of an off switch. And now, to be fair, Burke is one of his direct competitors here. Burke is second, I believe, in points. So he wants to not let Burke close that gap. And with this kind of points, with this what we're looking at, Burke could close the gap by as many as 7 points, I believe.
Well, if we take a
From
look at
second to
the
third.
championship, he is still. We just lost the top for a second. Wait while it comes back around.
Do you see what's in our forecast?
More rain.
Rain is coming
15
back.
minutes.
And
Matt Higgs
Higgs
cutting
with another cut. He's got to be careful.
So, yeah, so Matt Higgs currently sitting 248, Andrew Burke 231. So they are 17 points apart. You said one position difference could mean 7 points. Difference?
I think between third and fourth, it's 5 or 6 points, maybe 7. It depends. So or it depends on my memory being garbage. I know first to second is 14. It's usually 7. And so
now,
third
would that be
place
the double?
is 80. Yeah, that's with the double. So it's usually 7.
Okay.
With first to second on double, it would be double to 14. So second to third is 5, double to 10. So it's 3 points, so 6 points. It'll be a 6-point pull. Now, I gotta say, though, the question that I have to ask is, did these drivers adjust tire pressures to overinflate them slightly to count on the fact that it might start raining again? I guarantee you they didn't. If it was me,
No.
I would have. I would have overinflated. I'd be running around right now on 28 PSI minimum.
Wow, that's pretty intense.
Well, normally you go between, you want to go around 27 and a half.
Yeah.
So I would be saying, I would want to be running around right now at about 28.3 maybe.
Well, for those in the audience that aren't aware, the tire pressures in this particular sim especially are very sensitive. Half a PSI can be a pretty big difference depending on the scenario. You almost never even hear of people adjusting a full PSI with damp conditions. So explain to me, because there's only gonna be 10 minutes left at the time remaining, and so you would have banked on there being some sort of rain just with the wetness of the evening.
Yes, with how wet it was, I think I would have hedged my bets. I would have run my tires a little bit overpressured so that I had just a little bit more pressure in it than the guy next to me if it started to rain. If it doesn't rain, running on 28.0 or 28.5 is not ideal, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And I'll be frank with you, I also probably wouldn't be one of the drivers that would be up in this top 5 group. Based on what I know that I can do here in the wet and the dry, I think I'd be somewhere in the top 10. So for someone that's on the outside of the top 10 looking in, I think it only makes sense to hedge your bets to try and capitalize on gaining a few spots. I doubt you're going to lose many spots. You see where I'm going with this? You try to minimize and maximize a lot of things. So for me, I always try to play smarter, not harder. And so in that case, I think that's something I would have gone for.
Well, actually, I think that's probably the opposite of a min-max situation, just because you're trying to sort of, like you said, hedge your bets, get the middle ground, anticipate a wet scenario coming out of this relatively dry forecast. And I mean, I'd probably agree. I mean, I probably wouldn't do it just because I wouldn't think of it, but I mean, I just don't have that much forethought into this particular sim. But I do agree with the strategy, and I think using that as sort of a buffer zone to say, okay, well, I can be still competent at a slightly over PSI. and then hedge my bet saying, well, it's been rainy all day. I think that's a pretty smart strategy. You think Burke has taken that strategy though?
No. I think the only driver that would have had well, I shouldn't say the only driver. The only driver I think that would make such a decision on the fly, given the conditions, would be maybe. Well, Burke goes really wide there, nearly clips the wall.
I thought he was gonna hit that wall for a second.
The only driver I would think that would do something like that is maybe Chris Stevenson. I spend a lot of time practicing with him and coaching him, and so you get, and maybe Josh again, another driver that I coach, because those are things, those are the variables that drivers don't think of, crew chiefs think of. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. So now they are now approaching a lapped car. I believe that is Nelson. So I'll have to see how this traffic comes into it. It is indeed Nelson.
it is indeed, yes.
And Barker is just ahead of them. So we'll have to see how this goes.
All right, and I'm gonna have to ask you to excuse me for just a moment. I have
Absolutely.
a knock on my door.
Go get it. I will hold down the fort. So we're seeing the gaps kind of even out. Burke is pulling away from Higgs slightly, and Stokes is still remaining a little bit back from where he was earlier. So we'll have to see how this scenario works itself out. We have just shade under 20 minutes left in the race. Did I see Archie get a little bit sideways? It might have. This is currently where all the action is. We do have a little battle between Tershin and Stevenson back there. Meanwhile, Archie is currently still engaged with Baker, who has a great braking into, I believe that is Stavelo. Meanwhile, Butler is engaged with, not entirely sure who that is. That is an Audi. It's Sean Kenny and I think maybe Jones. Either Jones or Archie. I don't think it's Archie. So Butler holding firm in 7th place. He's been here for a while. That Bentley doing well, but is struggling to break up into the very top. And the track is upgraded yet again to fast. So from green to fast, we're only about 7 minutes away from that rain coming back, according to the timer. And the track temperature continues to fall, or I shouldn't say continues, but it is falling still. We're at 2021. So we'll have to see if these strategies keep these drivers engaged in their current state. Burke is now officially engaged with Nelson as they enter the run up to Eau Rouge, but Nelson has caught up to Barker. So as they enter Eau Rouge, this is gonna get really interesting, really fast. Nelson makes a move around Barker to Kemmel. Higgs taking advantage of the slowed Burke gets past Barker, who appears to have yielded. Nelson now holding up into Lacombe, but he breaks, giving the position. Although that gives Burke a little bit of an offline. Higgs eager to claw that up. He got a good line out of Lacombe. But not able to put too much of that to use. Meanwhile, Stokes behind is not getting the same good luck or treatment as Burke and Higgs were. Nelson and Barker are content to hold them up slightly. So, interesting circumstance. We got the 442 off through Pouon. Still trying to figure out who that is. Is that Archie?
442 is Nelson.
Nelson.
I'm
Okay,
back.
so Nelson, welcome back. Nelson succumbed to the battle, it seems. Although Higgs is taking that advantage to apply even more pressure to Burke. Still being very aggressive. It's going to be interesting to see how this battle continues to evolve as the track and weather do. As I said before, we're upgraded to fast, but we're about 4 minutes away from that rain coming back.
Wesley Stokes
Oh
now.
wow, Andrew Burke outbreaks himself, as does Matt Higgs, but Burke outbreaks him more. Ooh, Barker gets re-involved, and Burke starts to spin and spins it through Blanchimont.
The bus stop.
Noses into the wall. Oh, sorry, bus stop. I said bus stop, and then I immediately switched it. Why did I do that?
But
I got
yes,
excited.
he is having a bad one, and that's bad news for AXRT. They were hoping he was going to hold off Higgs.
Yeah, it
But
seems
he gets it
so.
righted. He's in 5th, and Arjona closes the gap on him as Burke is trying to get it back up to speed. I guess the alternative of Higgs gaining 1 spot would be Arjona gaining multiple spots, though I doubt that's going to happen. It's still not outside of the realm of possibility.
Not at all. It'll be interesting to see how this works out. We can already see the sky darkening slightly in preparation for that rain.
Oh, yeah. And it looks,
So,
wow, it is immediately going to upgrade to heavy rain, or excuse me,
oh yeah,
to
look at that.
medium rain. So while that says the medium rain is in the future cast of 15 minutes, there's only 13 left. That does mean that this rain, when it does come down, is going to build very quickly.
Meanwhile, if we take a look slightly back away from this battle here, there's a huge train forming behind Adam Brosh. Looks like Tershin just made up a move on Brosh.
And
There's lots of
shockingly
bouts.
here,
There's lots of bouts in Guignon cars. I'm not. I can't follow this. There's so much going on.
there's only 3 on the track today for Bots and Guignon. There's Max, the 404, and the 69.
I'm just trying to make sense of this timetable here.
So Archie's passing the lapped car of David Brosh. That is
Oh
one of
yeah.
the Boots and Guineans.
So that yeah. So our
And
battle
then
catches up
ahead of
here.
that is Chris Stevenson in the next Boots and Guinian.
So the relevance to the big picture race here is how much are Archie and Baker going to get involved in this, and potentially even Higgs and Aldian and Burke when they catch up. Looks like Brosh cedes the position to Baker. Smart choice. But they're coming up to Eau Rouge. And basically after that, I don't think Baker's going to be able to make up any time on the Camel, just because I mean. There's not much advantage if you get a good run at Eau Rouge. You basically just plant the accelerator.
Yeah,
We'll just have to see how this traffic kind of evolves the race a little bit.
we've got some more blue flag. No, I'm just watching right now. Tershin's being chased by Xavier, and AXRT wants every point possible. So they are battling for position, and ahead of them are the lapped cars of Jones and Horowitz. So it's going to get a little bit dicey through here. I have to say, I'm very surprised that Tershin is doing so well in the Lamborghini, especially considering he has some platinum drivers behind him in Wesley Stokes and Xavier Castaño Muniz. So he's doing well. And Bellotti, again, I said that maybe this car could have a surprise finish. He's up in 11th. It seems like the longer the race goes, the better Bellotti does. And hopefully Barker can find a few more positions before this one ends. Although he's racing Wesley. Yeah, he's racing Wesley. So we could see the Aston Martin team gain another spot. We could see the 911s of AXRT gain a few more spots towards the end of this. Arjona's right on the tail of Burke as well. Things are shaping up for something exciting. And Xavier is right on Tershin going down towards Blanchimont. He's got the run. He's on the inside. He's setting it up. The car ahead of him is also too wide into.
We got dual battles. I believe that's Horowitz. Whoa, that got sketchy. Not too bad though.
I'm glad that Tershin gave him the room. They ran wide.
And Castagna throws it up the inside
of David Jones. He's trying to put that car between him and the traffic that he's fighting. That's very wise. And David Jones just doesn't know what to do. He's probably saying right now in his very British accent, "Come on, man. Where do you want me to go?"
Oh, hey, bruv, what are you doing?
Hey, bruv.
Hey, bruv.
So while that's
James.
happening,
Clock.
Arjona looking to make the same move that his teammate just made in the same position, trying to work on Burke here.
Yeah, they were being really racy a couple of minutes ago before this Tertian battle appeared. That's Archie.
And Stevenson is for position with Tertian as well, so that move that Xavier made also stacked him up for Tertian to perhaps lose a second position to Stevenson. He's right behind him. And
So
Stevenson
Arjona,
navigates the lap traffic as well. And that is our leaders, by the way, approaching
they're
the
coming up
battle
to
of
the
Tertian
traffic.
that we were just watching. So there's battles within battles on top of battles. This is intense. And there comes the rain
And
again.
the rain starts to fall. Just saw that. So Archie makes his way by Horowitz. Huberstellen up to Pool. We'll have to see how this follows, because this is, as you said, there's battles within battles, and so trying to navigate those, even though they're faster, Archie and, well, which is mainly just Archie, will have to be really, really careful.
Yeah,
As
and
we
with
saw
this
happen to
rain
Burke,
here,
it doesn't take much for it to get really hairy. Track temperature
yeah,
continuing to fall, but the
it's
rain is
already
now
greasy.
increasing, and it's just got upgraded or downgraded to greasy. You're right.
Immediately, it went straight from fast to greasy in no time flat. And with the rain, like you said, it's set to increase for the last lap. They're going to be racing through some pretty heavy rain on slicks. This is going to be intense. Silvestri is no stranger to this. Is he still out there on the track? I don't remember.
I
Maybe
don't
he
see him.
retired.
No, I
It's
think he retired.
unfortunately he retired pretty
We
easy.
lost 5 drivers.
That's not too bad for 90 minutes on a wet track at
No,
Spa.
at
Could
Spa
do much
especially.
worse.
We lost Tobin. We lost Silvestri. We lost some people, but we still have 22 drivers.
Durazio is still out there. We might have lost. I think we lost DeLuca.
We lost Luca. Durazio's still here.
We lost DeLuca. Tobin.
Butler's fallen to 8th. Taken up by Sean Kenny, who's made a surprise return.
Yeah, he's pushing hard.
John Archie making quick work of these guys in front, but they're now going through the source, and he's gonna have to try and make his way past these guys before they get too far into the lap, because with the evolving track conditions, even though the temperature continues to decrease, it's gonna get harder and harder to navigate these battles going on, especially if people are starting to slide more. We even see Tertian cut
Tertian,
Arush
there he
pretty hard.
goes. Wow, he saves it on pit exit. And that was for position, by the way, for the cars next to him. So Archie's navigating a car, getting loose, going up the track, while these other guys are trying to maintain position. He can't get much more dicey than that.
Shame we couldn't get a better camera angle of that, but we kind of saw the beginnings of it, and I can imagine how a car sliding through Eau Rouge into the pit lane would look.
He kept it off the wall. I don't know how he did it. He caught the slide right as if he was exiting pit lane. Incredible.
Wow. That's one thing I wish I was better at, is managing slides in these cars.
It's really hard. You're fighting TC the whole way.
Oh, especially, like, there's sometimes I wish I had a TC cutoff button where I could just mash that and, have total control, but even with that, it can be pretty difficult.
Okay, now watching what's going on here.
Archie navigating, is that Stevenson?
That Tertian accident helped Wesley, because now Wesley is going to be up to 15th position, I believe. Oh no. That is the Ferrari of Jones sideways in front of our leaders. He's getting it going. He's in the grass, leading into Pouin. There goes by a couple more of our leaders. He's got a break in the action soon. There goes Barker. Coming up on him will be Burke and Arjona. And Jones is going to hold it to the inside, let Arjona through as best he can.
Meanwhile, Arthur Bellotti with a surprising comeback in the last few laps, getting back up to 11th. Kind of a stealth fighter here.
Oh yeah, Bellotti
getting a best lap of
doing
2:22.
He's doing
Not
great.
bad at all.
So let's see. As this winds down, we're about 2 laps from the finish here.
Track is now damp. Looks like I do see a little bit of rain, but it seems to have gone down a little bit. At least visually, I can't. You know, the forecast says more, but to me it looks like less.
Jumping onto an onboard cam, it's definitely not light rain, or it's increasing. It seems like the rain is different in different parts of the track with how big the circuit is. At the end of Kemmel, the rain is quite intense. And going down into Puan, the rain also gets more intense. So it's not uniform.
Checking back with Matt Higgs, we almost see him lose it through La Source. Gets really, really, really sideways. Now it's Aldian behind. Is that also Stokes?
That is Stokes, yes.
Okay.
And Burke is next to lap traffic as well. Adam David Broach is going to let him by, our new check entry to the field. And Aldian is all over Wesley's bumper now.
So I just noticed we've seen the past repeat itself yet again. Baker and Higgs, WRT, second and third.
Now, I have to wonder if Wesley is trying to not block, but just make Aldian work for the position just a little bit by finding his way around him, because he's trying to hold him up for Arjona, possibly.
You think
Arjona...
Arjona?
Yeah, no, Aldian for Arjona. Because
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
Aldian...
saying.
Yeah, Arjona is
Well, it
a
looks
couple
like doesn't need
seconds
to.
back.
Looks like it doesn't need to help. Doesn't look like it needs too much help with that. Like Aldian went really wide through Bruxelles,
Burke
and it's
does as well.
struggling to keep it on the track through Pouon. The BMW rapidly loses any sort of grip that it had. Yeah, you can see going wide again. That's actually Pouon. My apologies.
Yeah, I'm on board with Arjona right now, and he is just jerking this wheel. The wheel owes him at least $20.
That's a
I think
quality
it's
jerk right there.
Yeah. He is definitely
So, but
working it.
he's got quite some distance to go before he can catch up to Aldian or even Burke.
All right, leaders
And
on the final lap.
just
So
got.
this got called a little bit early.
I'm a little hesitant to say that this is going to be white flag conditions. We got a car off in Blanchimont. That's a Tertian.
It is white flag conditions. I'm reporting from on the track. I can tell you it's white flag out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. That's another reason why I hop into the session. All these benefits.
Race organizers with benefits.
Yeah.
But yeah, Aldian is actually, in spite of his issues, is now pulling away from Stokes. So you can see the rain has definitely kicked up, and if we continue for 15 more minutes, it would kick up even further. Track temperature, air temperature plummeting. We're down to 18 and 19. So temperature is going to be a huge issue for these cars, his tires at least.
Yeah, we just have to see who makes a mistake on this final lap.
Aldian very cautiously works it through Eau Rouge. Pretty event free.
And I don't think there's too much hope for Arjona to catch Burke now. He's had a slight lift on Kemmel. He must not be feeling the grip in the car too well, or not enjoying the level of grip in the car. Got Tertian between him now. And I believe that's Barker.
Tertian loses it through Lecombe. Doesn't see the position though. Yeah, leaves the door open though. That's probably a good idea.
Looks like that Lamborghini has some nose damage, so.
Barker makes quick work of, sorry, I should say Burke makes quick work of Barker. All these friggin' similar names: Barker, Burke, Butler,
Pelosi,
Rosh,
Baker,
Borker, Bunker.
We're top heavy in last names here, as far as the
No
alphabet
kidding.
goes.
I mean, I'm well known for struggling to mesh the James Butler and John Barker.
I think it gets everybody. I really do. I get them. I just go by the last name. Forget the J.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm convinced that that my brain is equipped to handle it, but it just isn't. Okay,
So
let's
bearing any mistakes, I don't think Arjona is going to be able to get. And John Archie wins the race.
indeed, let's set a camera at the finish line. We got Porsche.
Baker's in
that's
second.
Baker. Indeed, indeed.
Higgs is coming out of the bus stop for the final time. Aldian, again, showing why he is the best rain driver on ESR.
Indeed, indeed.
His finishing position spikes every time it gets wet out. Burke is probably kicking himself for giving up third place with so few minutes to go. He's in fifth, crossing the line. Congrats to him as well.
Yep, Burke, Barker, Arjona now crossing the line. Next up, Sean Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny is being chased by Butler, so they still have to make it, and the rain is now upgraded to median. So for the few drivers that are finishing, this could be dicey.
Next up is David Brosh. So are there any extra last minute battles going on? It doesn't look like it.
Butler and Kenny right now. Butler is trying to get him into the bus stop here. One more lap in these kind of conditions, and I think the Bentley shines on slick tires in this level of wet. I think the Bentley manages to pull it off.
Doesn't look like it.
No, I said one more lap. He was catching him quite
heavily. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so now that basically wraps up as far as drivers finishing. Turcotte looks like he's going to bring home a strong 10th. Bellotti is behind Max Simmons, though it's not for position, and Durazio is behind Bellotti, although he can barely see him. He's a half a straightaway back. And I think that's going to conclude things here.
Yep.
So a very strong finish from the camp of Bellotti and Barker.
Yeah, doing very well. Butler losing a couple of positions at the end there, but staying in a pretty strong 8th. Of course, WRT, man, Sean Kenny at the end really clawed a few positions back and got back up to 7th. That is an absolute devastating win for WRT. 2nd, 3rd, 7th. Arjona ended up back in 6th. Castaño Munoz and Stokes were able to get some sort of result, but perhaps not what they wanted to. Let's go over the finishing results before they all go away. Andrew Burke and nope, they're wrong. Okay, well they went away.
They're gone.
Yep. Hope you were paying attention, ladies and gents.
Our winner was John Archie.
Congratulations,
yep. Mr. Archie. You did absolutely fantastic. Congratulations to Baker and Higgs for finishing 2nd and 3rd. Congratulations to 4th place, John Aldian. And congratulations rounding out our top 5 to Mr. Andrew Burke. 6th place was Albert Arjona. 7th place would be Sean Kenny. 8th place is Butler. 9th place is... I have no idea. 10th, I really don't. 10th place is Turcotte, and 9th and 11th place is Bellotti. That is all that I have memorized from the running order.
That is way better than I did, my friend. Here, have a cookie.
Yeah, I have a pretty decent memory. So that is our top 11 that I can remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry for not having the result up. It faded away from existence a little bit too soon.
I was gonna take a screenshot, but it disappeared so quickly that I didn't even get a chance to do that. So I guess shame on me.
Alrighty, well.
But any case, fantastic race, ladies and gentlemen. That was round 5. We unfortunately, as always, don't have much time before the next series. But thank you for joining us in this excellent mini enduro at Spa. Quite an entertaining occurrence, just with all the weather and all the spins and plenty of action going on. Thank you for attending. Thank you for helping us out, Justin Swan, for setting up this fantastic series and getting everything set up for us and doing the co-commentary and stuff. We all appreciate it. Thank you,
A lovely
racers, for
race.
joining us. We are ESR. You can find us at esr-race.org. Our next race is Donington in a couple of weeks, June 27th. What's that?
Silverstone.
Silverstone.
I thought it was Silverstone.
Let me
I could be
let
wrong.
me
We're
verify.
going to England, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh
We're
yeah,
going
you're
to
right. It is. Yeah,
England.
my apologies. I recorded it wrong. I had some eyes crossed action going on, I guess. We have a break next week, and we're going to Silverstone. So here, I'll fix that real quick. I need to do
So
this
we're
because
having an
I'm
off
just
week. We're going to Silverstone. Then we have an off week for the 4th of July, and then we go to Donington. We round out the rest of the season following that with Hungaroring, Barcelona, and Suzuka, which will be our last 90-minute double points race for any last-minute hopefuls to make a comeback. I will see you all next time. My name is Justin Swan, and this is my co-commentator.
Cole McCray, as always, happy to be here. Happy to watch this amazing race and to be a part of this. Thank you all for joining us. ESR-race.org. We have a Discord, play all sorts of racing games, and join us. It's always a fun time. Anyhow, see you next time. Have a good one.